guys. Happy Friday. Thanks for joining us. We are Anu and Igor. We're the owners and founders of Vine Discovery Wine Merchant based out of Walnut Creek, California. We are the shop for the adventurous wine drinker, and here we are having our wine show reviewing a very special wine. Which one? Because I can't pronounce this. So
yes, it's hard to pronounce. We have to read it off. Domaine della Taille Loups. That's the name of the winery. It's from Montlouis within Loire Valley, and the grape is Chenin Blanc. So Chenin Blanc, we've tasted several Chenin Blancs. We had a sparkling Chenin Blanc from Vouvray recently. Mm-hmm. We did Chenin Blanc from South Africa from the great Montlouis winery, and now we're doing Jacky Blot. That's the great winemaker behind this wine. And in a recent article for JessieRobinson.com, Jessie herself called him the magician of Montlouis. So,
but didn't she say mustachioed magician?
Yes.
Can I pull up his picture?
Yes. Splendidly mustachioed.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
So this, guys, check it out. It's pretty, pretty solid.
It's pretty good. It's pretty awesome mustache. And there's actually a funny story behind this. A lot, before the whole shelter-in-place started, a lot of the importers, especially the bigger importers, they would hold these tastings where they would invite their customers, which are like either retail shops like myself
or restaurants,
to taste their whole portfolio, or at least a big portion of their portfolio. So the very first tasting I went was with Skurnik. Skurnik is the distributor who brings in these wines. And as I was tasting the wines, I came to one wine from this producer. Typically what happens is sometimes either the producers are there or somebody representing their winery is there. They pour the wine for you. They give you a little overview. It's a fun kind of conversation. You get to learn about them. So they used to make like a trip once a year to New York and to San Francisco. Mm-hmm. So these were big events. What reminded me is that I remember sitting at this big mustache man, and he's sitting there, and I'm waiting there to get my wine poured, and he's having conversations with somebody, and he's having conversations.
He's taking his time, chatting, asking questions.
It's as if I'm not even there, and a line is forming behind me, but carefree, not a care in the world. So that was kind of a pretty funny impression that I had of this genius magician winemaker. So, but what's funny about that is that we actually were watching a movie last night.
Yes.
And it's like applicable. There was a quote in that movie which was like applicable to the situation.
Yeah, so it's one of my favorite movies of all time, Clooney Brown. It's 1946 Ernst Lubitsch directed film. It's like a comedy of errors, commentary on like class. It's a hilarious movie. And in the scene that we're talking about, one of the characters, he's the owner, I guess, of a pharmacy. He's a pharmacist.
Yes.
And a customer comes in, but he's ignoring the customer, and he says, "It's the privilege of a successful establishment to keep the client on edge." And I thought it was so funny. I mean, I don't think that's what he was doing. I think he was finishing this conversation, but it is really funny.
It was funny, because, it's funny we just mentioned Moulin. They were at the same tasting. Skurnik is the same importer that brings their great Chenin Blancs from South Africa. Okay. And I don't remember who I was talking to. We was definitely represented from the winery. And we had a great conversation. She talked about their Chenin Blancs that I tasted, and their straw wine, which is the special dessert wine that South Africans make out of Chenin Blanc, and it's a world-class wine. It might be the best expression of that wine in the world. So it was just funny how interactive and eager she was to talk to me, and when Jacky Blot, he was
again the privilege of success. And so there are you can have 4 different types of Chenin Blancs. You can have dessert Chenin Blanc, dry, and sparkling Chenin Blanc, right? And then what's
it's arguably the most versatile grape in the world.
Okay.
Dry, off dry, sweet, and sparkling.
Okay.
I mean, even Riesling is probably the only other grape that's as flexible. But there's probably less examples of fantastic sparkling Rieslings as there are, great examples of sparkling Chenin Blancs.
Okay.
So it's it's a great grape, and the grape mostly comes from the Loire Valley. Vouvray is the most famous village in Loire to known for Chenin Blanc. In fact, a lot of people think Chenin Blanc is the great grape of the whole valley. It's even more so than Sauvignon Blanc from Sancerre.
Just wanted to show the picture of the wine.
The picture of the wine, but yeah, I don't know if you want to. Should we go through kind of the map?
Yeah, let me pop up the maps. Try to get the right one.
And
so this is good, right? It's kind of hard to.
This is the whole Loire Valley. So Loire Valley kind of starts from Atlantic Ocean and goes all the way towards center of France. So on the east side, kind of towards the center, that's where Sancerre is, and that's dominated by Sauvignon Blanc. But if you look at kind of these orange areas right in the middle, next to the city of Tours, that's kind of the big city there. It's Vouvray, the most famous village for Chenin Blanc, and right across the river from it is Montlouis, which is where this Chenin Blanc comes from. And what's interesting, I actually was reading an article by Jean Bonnet. He used to be the writer, the writer covering wine for SF Chronicle before Esther Mobley took over a couple of years back. So he was writing for Punch magazine, and he was saying how Montlouis was kind of considered like the little sister of Vouvray,
right?
And like not as interesting wines were coming out of Montlouis. But over the years, Vouvray kind of fell on its laurels. Settle its laurels and started kind of went into mediocrity. Whereas Montlouis started getting like more and more winemakers that went away from the Swedish wine that Loire was known for and more towards these dry, complex Chenin Blancs that could age for a long time. I mean, a lot of these Chenin Blancs are known to age for decades. So another, just like Riesling, another great white wine grape, they could go a really long time.
Right.
It's because of their really, really high acidity.
Right. So. I want to say hi to Chris and Mary and Rita. Hi, Rita. And we have a question, Igor, from Hunting Real Estate. He says, I've had Chenin Blancs I've loved and Chenin Blancs I don't like. Is this due to winemaker influence or climate?
Yes. This Andrew. Yes. Hi, Andrew. You know what, Andrew, I think it's a combination of... To me, it typically falls down to the winemakers. Like in this case, we're just discussing Jacky Blot. And what winemakers know is where the grapes excel at and how to maneuver the grapes under different conditions. Mm-hmm. So I think really the best way is to track grape producers and to kind of taste their wines because, there's nothing special about Chenin Blanc if it's in the hands of somebody who's not really competent to working with it.
Yeah, he doesn't know what he's doing with the raw ingredient, right?
Yeah, to me, the grapes, a lot of people think Cabernet Sauvignon is like a great grape. Just like anything else, it's great grape in the right hands.
Right.
People know where the grape excels at. I mean, there's plenty of mediocre, below mediocre Cabernet Sauvignons. There's nothing special about the grape. It's really what you do with it. It's just raw material.
Right. So, we actually talked about this recently when it came to what were we talking about, like a bad vintage, or because people say, oh, that's a good year for wine or a bad year. Yeah. And what were you were referring to something? You were like, okay, same conversation, right?
Well, this is I just mentioned Jean Bonnet, which great writer about wine. But I was listening to really a fantastic podcast about wine. It's called "I'll Drink to That," and there was a conversation with a winemaker from Burgundy, and she was kind of explaining that. A lot of people say like, oh, there's good vintages and there's bad vintages. But what she said, which kind of was revelatory to me, is that she said that a lot of winemakers use the same process, whether it's a good vintage or a bad vintage. So in the good vintage, the wine might be good, but in the bad vintage, it's not going to be as good. But she's saying you have to adjust to the vintage. So like if the vintage is lacking something, all right, then adjust your process and you can still make a really good wine. Mm-hmm. So it's really, you have to adjust to the vintage. You can't just go through the same process like year after year because the conditions change. So you have to change the way you make wine, and so you can still make high quality wines in quote unquote bad vintages. So that's what she was saying, is that it's once again, the winemaker has a lot of things to do with the quality of the wine.
Cool, very cool. Just wanted to call out that question. Yeah. All right, well, back to this wine. I just poured you some. Why don't you go ahead and taste it?
Yes.
I had it earlier because I always do.
Yes.
And I think this is delicious. Yeah. I'm not even exaggerating. Yeah. Just amazing. I said it was green apple, straw. I said some white, and I never cheat, I promise. I never look at the tasting notes anywhere. So I wrote green apple, straw, white pepper, kind of like a creamy, acidic, very long finish that reminds me of like a lemon meringue kind of tart. It's just very nice, refreshing finish, but it's also like still creamy. I thought it was just delicious. And I'm not surprised to see that Decanter gave it 96 points and Jancis Robinson gave it 18 out of 20, which that score is so high for the price point. What did you say earlier? You said this is the best wine that you sell in the store?
Yeah, I think this is the best value in the store. 18 point wine that retails below, I retail it for what, $37?
Yeah,
so below 40 is just fantastic. I mean, I have a few kind of unicorn examples of wines like that. And just to give you a perspective, a great Grand Cru Burgundy in a fantastic vintage from a fantastic producer would get 18 points from Jancis, and that's a wine you're looking over $300 a bottle.
Oh, okay.
So just to give you the context, what 18 points from her?
What does it mean?
It's a fantastic bargain, and like I said, it's. I'm like I gotta get several cases of this because this is gonna.
Well, we have two ourselves, right?
Yeah,
in our own personal cellar, and I kind of think we should have more. This is like a sophisticated wine. You can just tell.
Very young, and you're right about the apple skins.
It green apple.
Stands out. Yeah.
And I think it'll age very well because it has a freshness to it now. But I think it might age well, like kind of become more honeyed as it sits.
Well, it's funny because Jacky Blot, that's he was a pioneer. I think he started in the appellation in the late 80s. And he was doing something that a lot of the winemakers were not doing. He was using new oak barrels, which was kind of unusual. And he wanted to make the wine in a drier style, whereas a lot of the wines from Montlouis were kind of on the sweeter side.
Okay.
And he thought that the drier style really showcased the character of Chenin Blanc much better. And then the other thing is
words of an artist.
Well, yeah, words of an artist, yeah. And then it made the grape age longer.
Okay.
So exactly like you could see that it's a young wine that has you could age it for some time, but it's drinking beautifully right now.
Yeah, it's really good.
And his inspiration. I was actually reading the same John Bonnet article was Coach Dury and Rouleau. And those are basically the two greatest white Burgundy producers out of Meursault.
Okay.
I mean, and we're talking about wines that, their entry-level Bourgogne white goes for $250 and above. So, and then after that, you have Meursault, and then you have the Premier Crus and stuff. So they escalate in price. Just the context of what inspired him. So some of the best white Burgundy winemakers. So, that's, that's, you can kind of show how these pioneers, they become obsessives, and the final product shows.
Yes, you can tell someone who's obsessed with their craft.
And it just shows that wine is not a commodity as much as, some people want to make it a commodity and say like, oh, $2 wine is not that much worse than like $100 wine. It's all this like noise. It like kind of makes you lose focus from people who are, obsessive about their, craft and want to get you a great product. Right. So, and like I said, this is a fantastic.
Yes, and can we talk about food because that's mostly what I care about. So like food pairing. I think that I know that like a fresh kind of more acidic Chenin Blanc I've paired with salad before, but I think this has enough kind of creaminess to it that I would pair this with like fish and a cream sauce. I think it would go great, or like cheese would go well as well. I think this is very versatile the way it's at right now because it has the freshness and it has the little bit of tartness and richness, so it's great. And I laughed because I was reading about food pairings for more sweet Chenin Blanc.
Yes. Which makes some fantastic examples. We were saying that sweet doesn't mean it's good. I think what the article was saying, how it was done in the past, it was that they were made in that kind of cloyingly sweet style, not in these like complex sweet wines that could age for up to a century in some cases because of their beautiful acidity. So I just want to say that.
Interject, sweet isn't bad. In the hands of the right maker, it could be fantastic. But I was reading about dessert Chenin Blanc pairings. And the best pairing for that is actually what I ended up making for dessert tonight. So I'm actually going to show it. I don't know if I'm going to spill it, but it's going to be funny. So I made
I'm not sure.
I'm not sure. But so for dessert tonight we're having baked peaches with like honeyed syrup poured over it. And it's got some sliced almonds over Greek yogurt. So apparently that's an excellent pairing for dessert Chenin Blanc, but make do. So that's what I have tonight. Just wanted to show it off.
Yeah, we probably do have some dessert Chenin Blanc, but we drink more dry than dessert wines. Even though, funny enough, dessert wines are the highest rated wines in the world. It's
I think they can be phenomenal, and people definitely turn their noses up at it, like, oh, it's a sweet wine. It's like, no, they can be very complex and very interesting. But I like dessert wines so much. I want to share them with people. Like, I don't want to have them on my own. I want a group of people to enjoy it with me. So.
No, they're fantastic, but they are out of fashion. That's part of the reason, I think.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Y'all are missing out. Well, anyways, come on by our shop, check out this wine, and I'm not going to pronounce it again, but this is delicious. This is a fantastic bargain, and we will check you guys out next Friday. Thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
All right, bye.